Hi everybody, this is All Things Cheryl here, basically with a new video. I have two more to crank out, but number one will be review recap of Queen Cheryl. Title of it, episode 12 here. It is spring cleaning at the Boilalones. Ralph Angel in blue is basically preparing the home for spring cleaning. They're cleaning out the closet. They're putting small clothes away. They're getting ready to give some of Blue's clothes away because he's outgrown basically his clothes. And so while they're doing that, Blue hears a car, and so he looks up and sees that it is his auntie Nova. So he positioned himself to go out and to meet him. Ralph Angel basically stops Blue in his tracks and tell Blue to basically don't go out there, to go and find some bags, find some bags so he can put his small clothes into them and basically get them ready to be given away to the Goodwill. While Blue is basically looking for the bag, getting ready to bring the bag in, Ralph Angel goes outside and meet Nova. And Nova comes up, get out of the car, and says, "Hey, how you doing? I see that you're giving people second chances, and basically, I'm here to see whether or not if I'm able to get the second chances." And basically, Ralph Angel was not having it. Ralph Angel was still upset with Nova, and he tells that everything you are the reason why that Blue is basically in therapy, and Dollar has relapsed. And so Nova was very shocked to hear that Blue was basically in therapy, and Dollar had to relapse. And Ralph Angel basically tells Nova, he says that Blue is in a therapy because of some of the kids teasing him at school, and Dollar is basically had a relapse. She had 3 years of sobriety. Now she has to start all over, and you are the reason why she had to start all over. And basically, in I'm not. I'm still angry. I'm still angry at you. I mean, I really can't trust anybody. If anybody should have any issues with anyone crossing, it would be basically my own sister. And so when he told Nova that right now he's still mad, he's still angry. So he really don't have anything to say to her. He basically left and went back up in the house, and Nova basically went and got into her car. Well, we know that Micah is basically getting ready to go to school. And we also know that one of his choices is Harvard. So Charley and is sitting in the house, and Micah is basically sitting there on the floor, and they're preparing the house for the celebration. And so Charley has on a Harvard sweatshirt, and so she says to Micah, "You are getting ready to go to Harvard." So basically, and so Micah says, "Well, is that what it's all about?" I said, "Why do you have a T-shirt on?" She says, "Well, I have a T-shirt. I had the Harvard T-shirt on when I get ready to come and look at some, I guess, the football game." It seems that Micah is really not too enthused or anything. And he was saying, "Well, is that what it's all about? Prestige or whatever?" And so Charlie really didn't really have too much to say about that. And so while Charlie and Michael is basically preparing the house for this celebration, we see that Nova, basically, Nova is actually doing some preparation. She's doing some investigation into this old world energy. And basically, she comes across this name called Parker Campbell. And so she gets on the phone and she calls the newspaper, and she asks for a favor. She says, "I need a favor for you. Can you basically do some research into this old world energy and this person named Parker Campbell?" And it seems that this parked camel basically could be a ghost. I'm not quite sure. And so they said, yeah, okay, we'll do that. When she hangs up the phone, she gets a knock on the door. And then the knock on the door, so Nova basically goes and she opens up the door. And then she finds out the person who's at the door was Aunt Violet. And she was very shocked and very surprised to basically see that Aunt Violet had basically came to, at her place to stay. And so she looks and stunned, and so she tells Aunt Violet, she says, "Oh, come in, Aunt Violet, come in, Aunt Violet." And so she went on and overtook this opportunity to say that she is so excited due to the fact that Aunt Violet decided that she wanted to come and see her, and that she wanted to see her like real, real bad. And so Aunt Violet tells Nova, she says, "I'm over here for one thing. I would like for you to basically give me Jimmy Dale's address. I know you know where he lives at because basically you did the interview, so you know where he lives at." And Nova says, "I don't want you to be going over there. I mean, why are you going over there?" And then this is when Valen says, "I have something that I need to give him. I'm gonna have a box that need to give him." Okay, here we go with this box again. Can somebody please tell me what's in this box? I mean, we have gone through 12 episodes and we have yet not to find out what's in this box. What's in the box? What's in the box, Ava? What's in the box, Oprah? So she says, "I have something to give her." And so Nova says, "I'm not going to tell you his address or anything." She says, well, if you don't want to tell me, she said, "but I will drive you over there on that condition that you basically talk to me." And so Aunt Violet stopped for a minute. And she says, "Okay, you can take me over there, but that don't mean that I'm going to speak to you or anything like that." And so they agreed. And then this is when Aunt Violet and basically Nova was in the car. And this is when Aunt Violet says, "You wrote nothing about my accomplishment. You wrote nothing about my accomplishment." She says, "I counted the pages of how much that you wrote about me basically being a weak woman. And I have overcome that weakness, but you didn't mention it or anything. You just kept writing and writing basically about my weakness." And so basically, Nova admitted that the fact that, yes, she did write about, she was wrong in terms of just, mentioning about that. But then this is when Aunt Nova says, "Well, you know what? You have so much to say, but you have to learn how to basically listen." And so before they got into the car, and before Nova actually agreed with her, Aunt Violet told Nova, say that you are responsible for my madness. You are responsible for basically Jimmy Dale basically being in here and bringing back up these old feelings and everything. And you at least can, basically help me to deal with some of the issues that I'm having with him as far as that. And so, of course, we know that Nova basically agreed to it. And so, while Nova and Aunt Violet is basically driving over to Jimmy Dale's house, we see that Charley and Prosperous is basically in the registration, in the campaign office. And we hear and we see on television that Jacob has pulled out of the race. And the reason why he pulled out of the race is because he have gotten information that is some underhanded dealing, basically dealing with the company that is supposed to be bringing in this highway. And so while we're dealing with this, then this is when we find out that there's some dirty dealings and willings going on when it comes to, we are having Trump issues. When I say Trump, they're doing voter suppression. Basically, Prosperous tells Charley that he has been taken off of the register, and basically he cannot vote. And so Charley says, "Oh no, Mr. Prosperous, you've been here in Paris for well over 30 years. What you mean you basically can't vote?" And so while we find out that, but we also go on, and then while Prosperous and Charley was basically having this conversation, old money comes in. When I said old money comes in, wealth comes in, and we're talking about Frances. Frances is highly upset. She is like livid due to the fact that basically uh, Charley has given Jacob Joseph. I'm missing green sugar. Jacob has given Jacob. Is it? Yeah, Jacob. Maybe we should get this right. Jacob information, and giving him information about his history, about his grandmother being an African American woman, and the fact that she basically is a part of the border law. It's so Charley says, well, how you doing, cousin? And then this is when Francis kind of saying, I don't know what you have, what kind of spell you have over my son and everything, but we're going to get to the bottom of this. While Francis is talking about we're going to get to the bottom of this, this is when we see that two policemen basically comes in. And so they come in, and so they tell Charlie, Francis says, well, I see you a little busy. And then this is when we find out the policeman basically wanted to ask some questions about what was going on. And due to the fact that the investigation and finding that there was a particular tool that was used to destroy the apartment, I think destroyed the mill. And it was asking questions. It says, well, we found this tool that is basically used to put out sugar canes, and we understand that your brother basically owns a farm, right? And she says, well, yeah, he owns a farm. And so, and then they went on and said, well, we also understand that your son, Micah, was basically involved with some sticky stuff, like the burning and everything. Now we know that Ant basically was the fall guy for the teams, so he took the fall for everybody on the team. And so this is when Charley says, look, and then they asked him, well, do you think that you were just getting into the sugar, you just getting into the sugar business, that you really didn't really have the money and you were basically struggling? And do you think that, and so this is when Charley basically said, look, she stopped him in his tracks. She says, I need for you to know this. She said, whenever business, you're always going to have some issues and problems in terms of starting off a business, which is basically true. And she also told the two officers, one was a white woman, the other one was a white man, you need to know that I'm very, very rich. That I'm very rich. I'm well off. I have no issues, no problem. And so they proceeded to ask more questions, and Charley basically stopped them right in the tracks and says, look, I don't have no more information. If you want to find out any information about what's going on, I advise you to basically talk to my lawyer, because we're done here. And so while while Charley and Prosperous was basically dealing with that, we go on and we see that Noah and Aunt Violet has basically made it up to Jimmy Dale's house. And when we drive up, they're basically sitting in the car, and Aunt Violet is basically composing, getting herself together. So she finally gets herself together, and then she finally gets out of the car. Now, she tells Noah, she says, stay in the car, I'll be right back. Okay. Now we know that Noah ain't going to do what Aunt Violet tells her to do. Nova gets out of the car. Well, we see Aunt Violet takes the box with her. She's very nervous. She's very upset, but she goes on and she walks up to the door, and she knocks very lightly. She knocks very lightly. And then at first nobody answers, and then she knocks again. And then this is when Jimmy Dale comes out looking real crazy and everything, looking all around, like what the hell going on? And then he recognizes like, oh, it's you. I was wondering when you was going to really come back to your senses. And so this is when Valley says, Jimmy Dale, I basically have something for you. And he says, well, what you got? She says, here's this box. I want you to carry the burden that I have been basically carrying the burden for. So Jimmy Dale basically took the box and he said, well, what do I want this box for? What do I want to feel sorry about? Sorry for what? And so that's when Noah basically came up and Valley gave him the box, Turner, and went down the steps, right? And he says, well, what do I want this box? And then at first he said, well, he told her, Valley, he says, you're the one with the business. You're the one with the success. And then he left her. I mean, well, he told her, all of these things that basically what was going on basically with him. And so she says, well, I'm just going to give you this box because I'm no longer going to carry on the burden of this box. I'm like, what the hell is in this box? We know that it's a pink bracelet in there. Is it a baby? All y'all got to do is say that she was pregnant with a baby and he was very violent with her and that he made her have a miscarriage. Why drag on that daggone box and that pink bracelet forever? We know what's in the box. We know that you gave all of the implications, so she's pregnant. But why stretch it out all the way to 12 episodes? But I guess we gotta find out later on. And so Jimmy Dale took that box and bang, slammed it down on the thing. I said, oh hell, what are you getting ready to do? Is he getting ready to try to snatch her up? That's when he was basically getting ready to come down to the step. And then that's when Valley came back. And she says, oh, I basically see what's going on. Now this is when Aunt Valley basically stand in her truth. She said, you know what? You had to clean up for me. You had to make sure that you were decent basically to come see me. Because look at you. Look how you living. Look how you living. You had to clean up for me. And you don't have nothing. I'm the one with the money. I'm the one with the love. I'm the one with the business. You ain't got and ain't worth shit. I was like, has Aunt Valen ever cursed? Is this the first time we've heard her use a curse word? Is this the first time we've heard her use a curse word? She told him you ain't got shit. Never was shit. And never will be shit. Now while she's basically reading him the riot act, and while she's basically, hey, reclaiming her time when it comes to the queen and when it comes to living her best life, here comes this young lady. This young lady is basically coming from the store, look like she's been went through hell, has a bandage basically over her left eye, right eye, and Violet sees her. And Violet says, wait a minute, where are you going? You going there? She says, oh, wait a minute. What did you do? And then this is when the young lady was trying to tell Jimmy Dale. She says, oh, I'm kind of sorry, Jimmy Dale. I didn't know you had any company. It was so, the store had such a long line. And then Violet says, stop. She says, well, what was it? Was it that the sheets wasn't tight enough? Or the suit wasn't hot enough? And so the lady's just like, she's like real fragile, right? She's like scared to all 9 yards. And she says like, I was in that same position 30 years ago. She says, why don't you come on and go with me? And then Jimmy says, stop, don't you go out there. Don't you go there. Don't you, he tried to stop. He says, you know what? And then this one young lady said, I don't have a place to stay. And then this one Valley says, I got somewhere for you to go. I have somewhere for you to go. And she says, will you go there? I have something for you. And so she says, come on and go with me. And then this is when Jimmy Dale would say, don't you go there, don't you go there, stop. And so the young lady threw the groceries down and basically got in the car. This is when Jimmy Dale was basically getting ready to come down to the steps, and that's when Nova put up her camera and said, don't you dare make another step. Now let me tell you about our cell phones these days. Our cell phone is basically a weapon, especially the camera aspect of it. If we want to document, and that's the best terms of for documentation to prove that certain things in certain situations went on. But although they're trying to make it so that cameras are not a part of whatever information, but that's another subject, another matter. And so Jimmy Dale basically stepped back. And so they, basically Joe Walton, this and when Jimmy said, I'm not through with you. I'm not through with you. This is not the last of you hear from me. You're going to hear from me. And I basically really, truly believe that he's not done. He is so upset and he is so jealous due to the fact that, yes, Aunt Valley has basically moved on. Yes, Aunt Valley has basically reclaimed her time when it comes to the true queen that she is basically have. She basically read Jimmy Dale the Riot Act. Wow, basically dealing with Aunt Violet and Nova, basically dealing with Jimmy Dale, we basically see that Ralph Angel and Dollar. Dollar is basically at the house playing with Blue, and they playing frisbee and everything at the house. And so basically, Dollar comes in, and Ralph Angel tells Dollar that he has something to show her. So basically, he goes into the room and he brings out this big box that's basically wrapped up. And so she finds out that it was from Ernest. And um, Dollar asks, well, have you given this package to Blue yet? And Ralph Angel says, no, I haven't really given it to him yet. She says, okay, well, why don't we just wait? And then she says, well, you know that Nova basically came over, and I told Blue that he couldn't basically be with Nova. And so this is when Dollar says, you know what? I understand, what Nova did as far as writing the book and everything. And yes, there are some things that she really shouldn't have said or anything like this, but we have to really be fair. I want Blue to basically get all the love and everything that he can. And this is when Ralph Angel, looked at Dollar and told Dollar, well, you're a bigger person than I am because I'm still mad and angry at her. And so while Dollar and Ralph Angel is basically dealing with the aspect of Blue and Nova, we see that Kiki and Micah is basically at the museum, and Michael and Kiki is basically going and they're talking and they're confessing their love and everything. And they're talking about Micah that basically will be going away to Harvard, and they're talking about the fact that he went to Europe, and that the fact that they didn't really see each other during the summer, but they talked that they basically will survive. And so Kiki said, "Well, we survived the summer. We'll basically survive the winter. We'll see each other during the holidays and whatever." And so basically we go on and we see that Micah basically really loved photography. So he sees this one particular picture and that he explained to Kiki exactly, the significance of the picture and how the film and everything, the photographer had dropped it. And instead of them throwing it away, he made a picture, he developed a picture out of it. And so Kiki tells Micah, she says, I hope you do not stop your photography. I hope you don't stop your photography. And he says, well, I love photography. but basically I'll do something corporate or whatever. And so, but he went on to say, and he says, you're the one who's the artist. But basically, Kiki gets a 4-year art scholarship for free. So she's going to school for 4 years. That just goes to show you, um, you know, put in the, work diligently, get what you need, put in the time. So we go on, and we see that we're back at the we're back at the registration office. We're back at the registration office, and basically, Charley stops all the workers, and basically, Charley tells the workers that there is a lot of voter suppression going on. Not only are they doing dirty tactics, it seems like the Lancia is basically their sports problems is having some problems because they're not being voted for, and that they're doing dirty practice. And Charley says, well, I don't mind losing, but I do mind when there's dirty practicing going on. And so that's when we find out that they really are doing dirty practice. In the Latino community, basically, they have moved the precincts for like 10 miles where they cannot get to it. And so this is when Charlie said, well, we need to make sure that these people are, the Latino community are able to, basically vote. And so this is when Prosperous in season 4, Prosperous is really, really stepping up to the plate with his new love, Genevieve. And he is like, Prosperous said, this is nothing new. She says, we've been down this road before. So basically, all we're going to do is that we're going to do, when we boycott the bosses, we make sure we'll make sure we get the voters, to the polls. And I'll talk to the people at the parish. I've already talked to the pastor, and we're going to, make sure that they get to the polls. I would say Prosper's basically stepping up. I hope nothing happens to him. But anyway, while we're getting to the polls, while Charley and Prosperous dealing with the poll, we see that basically Dollar. Now Dollar has basically went to the diner, and she basically went to the diner to basically thank Aunt Violet for assisting her, finding her while she was like going loony doon in the park, thinking that Ralph, thinking that Blue and Micah was at this particular, but actually was at another park. So she basically bought something for Aunt Violet, and that was her badge. Her basically she has 1 month of sobriety, so we know that she has to basically start the program all over with. Aunt Violet tells her, she says, "Look, I know we had our differences. I know but it is what it is." And so she basically gave the button, the $2. Then in another scene, we see that in another scene we see that Aunt Violet and Nova basically has come home from this escapade from reclaiming her time with Jimmy Dale, and Aunt Violet tells Nova that she's glad that she basically let loose that burden that basically she's been carrying on for a long period of time, and that she basically has no more secret. Well, yeah, you do have secrets. I mean, what do you mean? And Nova says yes. She understood, and then she went on and asked Nova, is she want, a part? I'm gonna get back to talk about the secret. So we get to a scene where we see everybody at the house. Everybody is at the house, enjoying the scenery, getting ready to salute Michael, getting ready to go to Harvard. And so basically, Blue comes in, and so Blue goes directly towards his auntie, who's basically sitting on the couch. And of course, Ralph Angel comes in and gives her that little, I don't know, I don't want Blue to be sitting beside you. So our Valley basically comes up with a tray of hors d'oeuvres and everything. It says, look, Ralph Angel, don't get that baby involved in that. Don't get him involved in that mess. So basically, um, Nova tells Blue, she says, Blue, I think you need to go over there and basically sit with you need to sit with your father. And so this is when Ralph Angel told Blue to basically said, Blue, go in there and wash your hands. So Blue goes into the bathroom and everything and washes his hands and everything. And so this is when Blue began to ask questions. This is, well, why are you mad at Auntie Nova? And Ralph Angel says, I'm not mad at Auntie Nova. And she says, Auntie Nova. He says, well, what? She says, because Auntie Nova was sick. Sick about what? She says, well, kind of sort of sick. I said, well, she did something that she wasn't supposed to do. And then this is when uh, Blue said, well, did she apologize? He said, nah, not really, kind of, sort of. He says, well, you know what? Me and my friend, uh, we were playing, some type of video game, can't remember, but was playing some type of video games. And we were fussing and everything. And our teacher told us, said that you guys have more in common than what you think you have. And so Ralph Angel said, well, what was the solution? He says, well, we basically came up with, I'll do one thing and he do another thing. And um, so that's when Ralph Angel says, well, you can basically go and you can go and sit with your aunt Nova. And Boo said, yeah, I know. In other words, she's saying, I'm going to sit with her whether you want me to sit with her or not. I'm going to go over there and I'm going to sit with her. And so we get back to the party. And so everybody's celebrating, everybody have their wine glasses and everything, and they're toasting. And then basically Charley gives uh, Micah a surprise and gift that's basically coming from his father and her. And basically it's a Rolex. And so I'm like, Rolex? Are they still doing Rolex? Are men still doing Rolex? I thought they were doing the computer, get smartwatches, with everything on it. But they did Rolex. I was like, oh, okay. And so this is when Michael basically make his announcement. And then this is when he tells his mother, he says, well, I have decided that I am not going to. He said, I wanted to wait till after the campaign, but I think I need to tell you now. He says that I am not going to be, I recant from going to Harvard. And you should have, oh my God. Now, this is when I believe, this is when we see the other side of Charley when it comes to black privilege and white privilege. Is there a difference between black privilege and white privilege? Yes. Charley basically got highly upset. And so this is when Michael told her that he's not going to Harvard. He's basically going to a HBCU, Historical Black College. I think the one that Nova basically goes to. So I think Kiki and him will be basically going to the same college. And so Charlie was like, oh, I mean, you can, she was upset. She said, I don't understand it. Of course, historical black colleges, yes, you can get a very good education, but to go to a pristine college, it's not, unfortunately, they said a lot, so I'm just trying to break it down. She said, unfortunately, it is not about the education like it used to be. I wish it would, but really, it is really about the connections. It is about the connection. And then this is when Charley, to me, basically got up on her soap opera. And due to the fact that all of these issues and challenges that she basically had, she basically threw all that anxiety, in my opinion, on Micah. And then Micah, because at first she thought that Nova had something to do with it, and then she looked over there at Kiki, and Kiki's like, I ain't got nothing. This is my first time finding out about it, and this is Nova's. And then this is when Nova said, well, we're happy about it. I'll get to see my nephew, and you'll be much closer to us. But Charley was basically upset. She was saying, well, you could do all your picture taking and everything, but you can go to Harvard, and you're going to give up this opportunity to work. And then this is when Michael says, well, I made my decisions upon seeing you in terms of what you have been doing. And basically, she has been really, really given a prime example. So basically, Michael was taking the lead from what his mother was doing, but Charley was not happy about that. She was upset. She told Michael, how dare you turn down an opportunity to basically go to Harvard and to go to an HBCU. Now, I mean, this is when we really saw the white side of Charlie. This is when we really, really saw the white side of Charlie. Yeah, it's true that when it comes to opportunities that our white counterpart, even though we don't want to talk about it, all of us who basically has talked about this particular issue between the HBCUs and historical black colleges and prestigious white colleges. For some odd reason, we feel that white colleges basically will give you a head up. In some sense, they will, because just recently, what was the two celebrities that got caught fudging ST, was it the SAT, to basically get their daughters into, I think it was Harvard, and I think one of them got quitted. I don't know. I'm not quite sure, but it was just a big, big to do about that. And so yes, they do a lot when it comes to trying to get their kids 1 foot ahead of the game. And yes, it is not what you know, although sometimes it can be, but actuality is who you know. And it has always been like not what, but who you know throughout the historical context. It's not what, it's who. Who you know in this particular place, who you know in that particular place. And then it went off. Unfortunately, Micah was very, very upset due to the fact that his mother was not satisfied. Uh, Charley had tears in Micah's eyes. I really didn't like the fact how she told him, how dare him. In actuality, this is his life. That's his life that he has to choose. If he doesn't want to go to Harvard, he doesn't want to go to Harvard. I think it's just a matter of fact that you can say, oh, my son goes to Harvard. So that's it for Queen Sugar episode 12 here. Yeah, we're here. Now, Ava, what's in the box? Why are you guys carrying us on? We know that either Jimmy Dale and Aunt Violet had a baby and he probably abused her where she lost it, right? Charley, we don't know about Charley. From what I understand, it's not going to be happy in happy camp. You guys is doing it again. We're getting ready to go up the roller coaster, and we're getting ready to come down the roller coaster, and we're getting ready to go full blast, because this old world energy and this Parker Camel, like I said, it's bigger. You have to excuse it. I'm in my office, my office. It's bigger than what Nova says it's bigger, and Charlie says it's bigger. Look, till the next time, this is All Things Cheryl, and today is Friday. And I think Green Sugar came on, I don't know, was it Wednesday? A little late, but I'm always late. I try not to be the first one, although I know some people like to be the first one, but for me, I just move real slow. So until the next time, be peaceful, be humble, be kind, and remember love is for everyone. And I'll see you on episode 13, which is the final season. And here we go. We're getting ready to blast off. Take care. Peace.